A very warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Nationwide today, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. I am Ruth Aguela, and we'll begin with the latest from the judiciary. The FCT High Court sitting in Maitama has sentenced Mariam Sanda to death by hanging. Mariam Sanda was convicted for the willful murder of her husband, Bilyaminu Bello Haliru, in the course of a domestic disagreement. Justice Halilu Yusuf held that Mariam Sanda allowed anger to becloud her sense of reasoning. Let's hear from Olabode Arewa.
Tracing the circumstances that led to the conviction of the defendant, the court held that Mariam Sanda's submission that Bilyaminu tripped and fell on a broken bottle was an afterthought, since the defendant and two prosecution witnesses have admitted that she had a knife in her hand during an argument with her late husband Bilyaminu on the 18th to the 19th of November 2017. The court also held that the circumstantial evidence had linked Mariam to the crime, since she was the last person that saw the disease before he got injured and died. Justice Halilu Yusuf accordingly sentenced her to death by hanging.
We thank God that the long arm of the law have actually caught up with the offender. But the truth of the matter is that the law has nothing to do with sentiments.
The convict and her late husband engaged in a domestic fight lasting 2 days over what the convict described as the alleged sighting of a nude female picture on her husband's assets. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Still on the judiciary, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has granted bail to the former senator representing Kaduna Central, Shehu Sani, in the sum of 10 million naira. The presiding judge, Justice Iyank Eko, granted bail to the defendant after his arraignment by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on 2 counts charge of bribery and advance fee fraud. Omenka Amarachuku reports.
The defendant, Shehu Sani, pleaded not guilty to the 2-count charge preferred against him. Counsel to the defendant, Abdul Ibrahim, SAN, in an oral application, pleaded with the court to grant Shehu Sani bail. Counsel to EFCC, Abba Muhammad, opposed the bail application. In a ruling, the presiding judge, Justice Iyank Eko, dismissed EFCC opposition to Sani's bail application since it's a description of the court and the offense is a bailable offense. Justice Eko ordered the defendant to produce a surety with a landed asset worth 10 million naira. The defendant equally is expected to deposit his passport with the court registry as well as seeking express permission of the court for any trip outside the country. The case has been adjourned to February 24th, 25th and 26th. In Abuja, Obenka Marachuku, NTA News.
And the Federal Capital Territory High Court, this time around sitting in Gwagwalada, has fixed Thursday, the 30th of this month, to give ruling on the bail applications filed by a former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mohammed Bello Adoke SAN, and 2 others. Adoke SAN is standing trial for alleged money laundering, alongside 6 others, which include 4 companies on their alleged involvement in the Malabo oil deal. Counsel to Adoke and the other 2 defendants argue that the alleged offense is bailable and that the first defendant, the former Minister of Justice, has medical issue. Counsel to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission objected to the bail applications on the ground that there is high possibility for the defendants to jump bail if granted.
Of course, yes, and we exhibited documents. As you're all aware, he was arrested by Interpol and escorted back into the country. And I wouldn't want to go into the details of my argument in court. The court has not given its ruling yet, and it will be unethical for me. The arguments are advanced before the court. Before a ruling is made on it, to re-advance it outside of court, it would be very unethical.
We told the court, by way of summary, at the end of the day, that bail is a constitutional right because of the presumption of innocence of an accused person. And that at the end of the day, it is a matter that is entirely within the discretion of the court.
Right, in other news, Yahaya Bello of the All Progressives Congress has been sworn in for the second term as the executive governor of Kogi State. The governor thanked the people of Kogi State for the opportunity given to him to lead again and commended the leadership of the All Progressives Congress for the unalloyed support given to him in the past 4 years and during the last election in particular. He attributed his success in office in the first term to the cordial relations with the legislature, the judiciary, the traditional rulers and the civil society. The governor pledged to improve on his achievements in the past 4 years, integrating the diverse people of the state and using resources of the state to stimulate economic growth as well as confronting the security challenges in some parts of the state.
Uniting the rich human and natural diversities of Kogi State into a progressive and cohesive force for good is the main achievement of the first term and will remain a priority for the second term. We shall not relent in weaving equity and equality into the fabrics of our society and strengthening the basis for our coexistence.
Governor Yahaya Bello there speaking at his second term inauguration. Let's look at the legislature. The Senate is set to reconvene Tuesday, 28th of January 2020. Says legislative intervention in security challenges in parts of the country will receive decisive and immediate attention. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, stated this during an interaction with members of the Senate Press Corps. Ignatius Onkwo reports.
The passage of the 2020 budget of the Federal Capital Territory was the last legislative business of the Senate in 2019. On that day, the Senate adjourned to 23rd of January 2020 for the Christmas and New Year festivities. 39 days after, the senators are ready to go back to the chamber. It is expected to be a year full of legislative fireworks, but certainly some items must take precedence.
To work together with the executive arm of government, actually to work together with the other tiers of government, the states and even the local governments, to ensure that we change the way we approach the security issues in this country.
The Senate will also commence the process of constitutional amendment and consideration of the Petroleum Industry Bill.
We are also not oblivious of the need and necessity, really, to ensure that we amend the Electoral Act. Implementation of the 2020 budget is going to occupy our time in oversight functions. The PIB that has defied passage, we want to break that jinx.
Because that's been lingering, I can assure you that this night, Senate, we are going to pay attention to this and it will see the light of the day.
There was some presidential appointments during the recess, and the Senate is also expected to attend to those national issues.
There are some immediate things we need to address. There have been several appointments that, the Senate has to consider the reports and confirm those appointed. Those are the first things we'll take on immediately.
However, there won't be any legislative business on the first day of resumption, that is Tuesday, as a result of the death of a serving member of the House of Representatives, Muhammad Ugawo from Jigawa State, who died during the break. National Assembly staff, security personnel and the Senate Press Corps appear set for the resumption of legislative activities. Ignatius Onkwo, NTA News.
And talking security now, President Muhammadu Buhari has received assurances from the military that the Harmattan dust gradually easing its hold on the skies. Fighter aircraft will this week join the efforts to provide effective air attacks against bandits, kidnappers and cattle rustlers that have been attacking remote communities around Dogongona Forest in Niger State. The president described repeated attacks as a disaster for the country and authorized the deployment of air power to support troops and policemen deployed to the difficult terrain to counter the menace of the attackers operating in the forest area bordering Kaduna, Niger and Zamfara states. President Buhari commiserates with the government and people of Niger State following the attacks and the loss of lives that followed, and assures that victim communities in the state will not be abandoned by the rest of the country. In another development, the Nigerian Air Force says it has destroyed an Islamic State of West African province staging area at Gashiga and terrorist hideouts at Tumbunrego on the fringes of Lake Chad and at Bula Bello near the Sambisa Forest, all in Borno State. In a statement by NAF Director, Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, this was achieved in air strikes conducted by the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole on the 24th and 25th January 2020 after credible intelligence reports. The attack on Gashiga was executed on 25th January 2020 after intelligence and surveillance missions indicated that the location with defensive parapets and underground tunnels was being used by the ISWAP elements as a meeting point and staging area for launching attacks. Consequently, the Air Task Force detailed its fighter aircraft to attack the identified location, destroying the structures, killing several terrorists in the process. Similarly, fighter jets were dispatched to attack Tumbunrego and Bula Bello on 24 January 2020 after ISR aircraft detected significant activities in the two settlements, neutralizing scores of terrorists in the three attacks, including some of their key leaders, as later confirmed by human intelligence reports. And as part of its fight against economic sabotage, contraband worth more than 75 million naira has been arrested alongside 5 suspects along the Calabar waterways. The arrest, which was carried out by men of the Nigerian Navy ship Victory, is part of the ongoing fight against smuggling in the country. Let's hear from Cecilia Ititim.
The seized items include 692 bags of foreign rice and 181 drums of premium motor spirit, as well as 4 medium-sized wooden boats used in conveying the contraband. Commander NNS Victory, Rear Admiral Vincent Okeke, says the base remains resolute in the fight against maritime crimes.
The rice was being imported from Cameroon, while the petrol was headed for Cameroon. So we brought all the contrabands, like I promised. Any contraband we are caught out there must be brought to the place.
Team leader Operation Swift Response was at hand to receive the items and suspects for further investigation and prosecution.
The investigation is ongoing, and as soon as they appear in court, you people will be briefed, and everybody will hear, all Nigerians will hear.
Within the last 2 months, NNS Victory has recorded 13 major arrests of contraband valued at about 300 million naira. In Calabar, Cecilia Ititim, NTA News.
Meanwhile, troops under the Operation Mesa has rescued 5 kidnapped victims at Dogongona Shiroro local government area of Niger State. A statement by the Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator Colonel Aminu Ilyasu indicates that 2 kidnapped victims were also rescued on the fringes of Zugu Forest in Sokoto State. Similarly, troops of Operation Lafia Dole foiled an attack on an IDP camp in Gamborung, Ngala in Borno State and rescued 5 humanitarian staff taking refuge in a bunker during the encounter. Colonel Ilyasu noted that troops of the Nigerian Army, Cameroonian Defense Forces and Civilian Joint Task Force have killed 5 Boko Haram members during clearance of terrorist hideouts in Abbaram, Axis in Bama, Borno State. The statement adds that Operation Quick Blow is ongoing to ensure safety on major roads linking Borno and Adamawa states to other parts of the country. Let's take a pause. Let's go on a break. We'll be back shortly, so please stay tuned.
This year, the weather conditions Harmattan in Nigeria is harsh, with temperature dropping very low in some parts of the country. Many underprivileged children are exposed to these harsh weather conditions, putting them at risk to all sorts of respiratory infections with devastating consequences. We request well-meaning Nigerians to kindly donate warm clothing, blankets, beverages, soap, moisturizers, and other essential items for the benefit of these children. Get involved to support displaced and underprivileged children exposed to these harsh weather conditions. Powered by Aisha Buhari Foundation.
On NTA Tuesday Live this week, experts will review Nigeria's outing at the UK African Investment Summit in London and the World Economic Forum in Davos. Tuesday Live at 10:30 p.m. Gains, prospects, and challenges of the meetings. Don't miss it.
Are you a business owner struggling to find your way? Smithan is the answer. The Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria is here to help you succeed and gives you entrepreneurship training that will make your business grow big. It can create access to finance. Smithan can help you prepare a good feasibility study and link you up with the finance institutions that will fund your business. It can also create access to market through local and international trade fairs, opportunity fairs, and exhibitions. Smithan also organizes programs to identify innovative entrepreneurs and promote their business ideas. For further information, contact us at Plot 35, Port Harcourt Crescent, Area 11, Garaki, Abuja, or visit our website www.smithan.gov.ng or any of our state offices in the 36 states of the Federation.
Coming soon in March 2020 in the capital city Abuja, the Ivory 8 Ball, a life-saving fundraising event featuring music and arts in aid of skin cancer patients with albinism. For participation and sponsorship, please call Edidio, Chinwe. This event is supported by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA TV Enterprises, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, and the Albino Foundation. The Ivory 8 Ball for a worthy cause. Watch out.
My daddy is doing traveling work. I go and stay with my uncle. She told me to wash plates. I go and play football. From there, she beating me. She go and find one throwing rope, tighten my hands and my legs. Say I want to be a stubborn boy.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, breaking the news for over 40 years.
Well, glad to have you there. Let's look at health issues as fear rises over the outbreak of the Lassa fever in some states of the Federation. Experts harp on awareness and counseling, especially at the grassroots. Now, to this end, the fire officers' wives took the initiative of providing education for some nursing mothers on the deadly disease in Shidda, a suburb of the Federal Capital Territory. Doin Dia will tell us more.
The blaring of sirens such as these is often associated with a fire emergency alert, but this time the alarm is not for fire outbreak, but a scourge which also calls for vigilance, Lassa hemorrhagic fever.
And then with their food, they are breaking, so they need to wash it thoroughly to prevent all this Lassa fever.
Since the re-emergence of the outbreak of Lassa fever, more than 150 persons have reportedly been diagnosed and over 20 deaths confirmed. Most worrisome is that of a pregnant woman who lost her life to the infection in Kano State. These concern and other related health issues necessitated this medical outreach.
So I think when we come out with something like this, at least it will come a long way for the people and most especially the nursing mothers.
We thank God that Shedda as a community, we've never experienced such things. And wherever those things are happening right now, we are joining them in prayers.
Aisha Jamilu is a nursing mother who has not heard of the outbreak, and so this gesture for her is a lifesaver.
Cook our food in a way that will get nutrition.
wash our clothes, bath. If we do like that, we cannot have the sickness.
With the outbreaks of the Lassa fever in some part of the country, as well as the ravaging coronavirus in China, experts here advise that proper hygiene be maintained, as well as awareness amongst nursing mothers in densely populated areas.
Doing Dia NT News.
And still on that issue, the Minister of Environment, Mohamed Mahmoud Abubakar, has directed all environmental health professionals in the federal, state and local government areas to embark on the following measures to curtail the incidence of Lassa fever.
1. Massive awareness campaign on the need to keep the environment clean. 2. Environmental health surveillance of premises to identify rodent harborage, destroy, eradicate rodent homes, commercial and industrial premises. Effective pest and vector control services in residential and commercial premises, notably deratization of marketplaces and homes. Development of sanitary means and facilities for drying of food, cereals, legumes, and tuber to ward off the invasion of rodents.
All right. Joining us in the studio to talk more on this acute viral illness is Andy Uka, Director of Registration Ethics and Standard Enforcement from the Environmental Health Officers Registration Council of Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, this whole awareness has been on environmental sanitation. How is the health officers coming up with plans to ensure that this is entailed?
Actually, not planned now, but we're on the field already, tackling the cases. What happened is that over the years now, like we have up to 51 years now, that this disease has been ravaging our country and our people. We have never been so proactive or attacking it, but we have been so reactive and so defensive. So a disease like this, that is occurring every year, supposed to would have been eradicated because it is 100% preventable. But this year, we started earlier to educate our people in the field. In fact, we have covered the southeast, like Ebonyi State, Enugu State, to the north. We have covered Kano, Bauchi, Kaduna, and this week we are going to Lagos and Oyo State. This week also, by Saturday, we'll be going to market like Jabi Market, Gariki, Central Market, a market in Kubwa, to sensitize the people, because market is another like a headquarter
for the rats.
For the rats,
yes.
And so because these rats live in the bush,
yes.
But during the rainy season, they are comfortable there, enough food for them to have to eat. But during the dry season, the vegetation is gone, and the bushes are being burnt, and the food becoming scarce. They used to migrate to human dwellings where they will look for food. So market is a heaven for them.
Yes.
And that is why when you come to market every time, but we are now taking the burden upon us to meet the market people. They're supposed now to be cleaning the market every day.
What about those who spread fruits on the floor?
Yes, that's on the way. We're educating those people, because those food that are spreading on the floor is maybe some of them on the road. Such rats can interact with it. And most of the time, like Gary is ready to eat food.
Yeah.
You don't need to boil it again. Some people that want to drink Gary in this dry season or chew Gary, we keep on telling them that you can stop those things for now and until this disease is gone. Now, if Gary is put into hot water, there's no problem, because it's a viral organism. It can easily be killed.
Okay, so EBA, in essence, will not
no
transmit.
problem.
Yeah, okay.
And it's just to prevent yourself from eating those contaminated food. Those are contaminated by rats rat feces, rat blood, or rat urine.
Okay, let me hold your thoughts there.
Right, yeah.
Now, there has been speculations that also people who sell bean cake, that is akara, and also all the suya people, the newspapers they use in wrapping these foods, you know, a lot of times they're being dumped in a warehouse. So what alternative measures would you recommend?
We can tell the people not to be using all those things now. And just
have you started the campaign?
Yes, that's what actually what we are saying. And if you are going to those places, you can use your own bowl, your own plate, your own cooler, or something that can retain it. And we are telling people that you should not eat food that is cold now. You must eat food between 62 centigrade to 65. At that temperature, no microorganism that can cause disease that will survive.
You know, the whole essence of this is to promote a free disease environment.
Yes.
Now, what are those likable challenges you're being faced with if we must ensure that our environment is healthy and safe?
Yes, environmental health officers are trained to prevent diseases. Unfortunately, we don't have enough of them. Not that we are not training enough, but enough people are being trained, but the employment, that's why we use opportunity like this to call on state and local government to employ more environmental health officers and send them for environmental health surveillance and premises inspection to detect all those things. That's the work. When you detect that there is infestation of rat here, you will go further to abate the nuisance, because it's a nuisance, telling people what to do. But unfortunately, they are not being employed. They are not being encouraged with the logistics that are required.
But why do we always wait until times like this before we hear, you know, people come out, people of your kind, you know, come out. A lot of people are not even aware there are health officers like this. So why do we wait until there is a disaster before the awareness is out there?
It's a continuous work. Okay. They are working, but because they are not enough, you will not be. If you didn't invite me here, you will not know that you are working. Yes. I will not tell you what we are doing. But I'm saying that in the federal aspect, the registration, the Environmental Health Officer Registration Council is trying on our own side, but we are asking the local government and the state government to employ more of them to do their work, and equip them with the necessary logistics for them to work.
Thank you very much. I understand you want to say more, but our time is up. Thank you so much for coming on the news. We do appreciate and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll continue to sensitize the public, and we have been talking to Dr. Andy Oka, Director HOD, Department of Registration, Ethics and Standard. All right, let's join Jennifer Igwe in our Lagos Network Center for more on Nationwide. Hello, Jennifer. It's good to see you.
See you too, Ruth. Good advice there by the health officer. Better safe than sorry. Now, our first story is on business. The federal government has expressed willingness and readiness to make foreign and local businesses flourish in the state and country at large. President Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented by his special advisor on ease of doing business, Jumoke Uduwole, gave the assurance at a business summit on Victoria Island to boost foreign direct investment in the country. Nosa Usula reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari, since the inception of his administration, has made the creation of an enabling environment for businesses as well as investments to thrive in the country his topmost priority by assuring investors that the promotion of business-friendly policies remains a priority of his administration. Both the special advisor to the president on ease of doing business and the Lagos State Commissioner for Housing explained that the federal and state governments were making progress in creating an enabling environment for investments through policies, initiatives, institutional re-energizing, as well as infrastructural renewal and development.
When things are good, we need to recognize that they're good. When government, both at the federal level with the Finance Act and at the state level with several reforms that I reeled out, and with the Lagos State team here, we need to recognize when things are done. We need to do our research. We need to go online. We need to appreciate the reforms and push them.
The real estate sector is key to achieving sustainable economic development objectives, especially in the fast-growing economy, such as that of Lagos.
Stakeholders commended both the federal and state governments for their efforts in ensuring the ease of doing business in the country.
Each state government, the local governments, the federal governments, as well as the private sector, all of them has a role to play.
What needs to be done is to push for growth, sustainable growth.
The federal government also used the occasion to call on the organized private sector to continue to partner with government, stressing that the President Buhari-led administration remains committed to finding lasting solutions to the challenges confronting the business sector. In Lagos, Nusa Osula, NTA News.
And to housing, the Lagos State government is using its housing policy as catalyst to stimulating safe environment, fight poverty, improve the health status of the people, and create jobs for residents. Commissioner for Housing, Moruf Akideru Fatai, while giving an insight into plans to complete various pocket-sized housing schemes across the state, said with robust housing policy, more than 2/3 of the Sustainable Development Goals will be achieved. Michael Olaleye reports.
The population growth of Lagos State is estimated at 3% increase yearly, a figure experts say translates into 3 million housing deficit annually, according to research. From Ajegunle to Korodu, the challenge is visible, with larger percentage of the population paying through the nose to afford the ever-increasing house rents. The Lagos State government, under its robust housing scheme, say help is here, with the Lubirin for Sure estate targeting highly populated area in delivering cheaper accommodation for Lagosians.
The masses are the target audience. And when we say the masses, we're expecting to be from people who are the artisans, the bricklayers, who can actually, save up to pay off.
We are collaborating with the private sector, and we are giving them all the necessary support that they need, and at the same time, we are pushing them hard.
The state government promised to deliver the houses in record time, as 360 housing units will be ready at the end of the year.
It's a mixed-use development, which will have commercial, retail, residential, all within the community. It's meant to, we will more or less design a concept of a walk, live and play concept within development, and it's a waterfront development.
Lagos State is focusing on building a smart city where affordable housing will not only be available for all residents, but the growing rate of shanties will be addressed. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
And on border closure, members of the Rice Distributors Association of Nigeria have appealed to the federal government to make the closure of the Nigerian land border a permanent one, as they continue to count the benefits they have accrued over the short period of the closure. They made the appeal in Lagos as a way of adding their voice to the clarion call by the federal government on consumption of Nigerian rice. Tunde Saike reports.
The federal government in August last year ordered the partial closure of the land borders to curb the massive smuggling activities that are perpetrated along these borders, especially rice smuggling. This is aimed at encouraging local production and consumption by Nigerians, as well as boost the nation's economy. So far, there have been reports of positive effects since this initiative by the federal government on local production and investment. With collaboration of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Rice Millers and Distributors Association signed a memorandum of understanding to ensure that the local millers are to use the local distributors to stem foreign patronage.
I really like what the president did, because president removed us from bondage of this foreign rice.
I see the thing as if we believe in ourselves, and for those, it's not up to a year, this rice is everywhere.
But the Rice Distributors Association of Nigerians say, inasmuch as the federal government meant well for them, some agents are out to discourage them.
To meet the market all over the country being flooded with foreign rice, which we have overwhelmingly rejected and we have made our allegiance to the Nigerian rice.
The Rice Distributors Association are however optimistic that if the borders are permanently closed, more benefits will accrue to them and to the nation. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Thank you, Tunde. That's all from Lagos. We hand it over to Ruth in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Jennifer. Let's look at corruption issues. The 2019 Corruption Perception Index ranking Nigeria 146 out of 180 countries analyzed by Transparency International has been described as consistent in stigmatization of Nigeria and not true reflection of the country's robust anti-corruption crusade being waged by the Buhari administration. Guests on NTS Good Morning Nigeria say such intrusive notion must be countered with real facts and data about what is presently obtainable in the fight against corruption. Let's hear from Lydia Sampson.
Since the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari came into power, experts says fighting corruption took a greater dimension, with people hitherto considered above the law wallowing in jail for corrupt practices. With various reforms like the Treasury Single Account, whistleblower policy and open governance partnership, all geared towards enshrining transparency and accountability, the guests are unanimous that Nigeria may not be where it wants to be, but certainly not where it used to be in the fight against corruption.
Transparency International has every right to assess Nigeria, but transparency should know that Nigerians have every right to reject their report.
And if London, for example, is seen as the haven of looted funds, and the agencies and the countries have made efforts, strenuous efforts, including invoking legal agreements for repatriation of looted funds and even submitting of certified criminals or established criminals back to their countries to face the music. And these countries actually offer them all the protection. Then definitely I want to take the report of the Transparency International with a pinch of salt.
The guests also faulted Transparency International's methodology of sourcing data based on perception, stressing that any attempt to stereotype Nigeria should not be tolerated by the government and well-meaning Nigerians.
When we talk of corruption, corruption in any nation is not carried out or perpetrated by some people from the terrestrial world. They are perpetrated by Nigerians. And when we talk of what people perceive, the same people who have also perpetrated corruption in the country will also have their own perception. And so the same people will never see anything good in what the government is doing.
The guests urged the government to remain focused in advancing the fight against corruption to the point where the proceeds of corruption are effectively managed and plunged back for public good. They equally advocated a robust communications strategy to marry the gains recorded in the anti-graft crusade with the perception of Nigerians in general. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Let's go to Port Harcourt now to join Jenny Bassi for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Jenny. It's over to you.
Very much, Ruth, and welcome to Port Harcourt. As part of efforts to address the rising spate of tanker crashes and its attendant effects on human lives and the environment, the Federal Road Safety Corps has organized a stakeholder meeting towards finding lasting solution. The meeting was at the instance of the Rivers State Zonal Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC in Port Harcourt. Emmanuel Lene reports.
Every day, about 1,225 tankers ply various roads in the country, supplying and distributing petroleum products, with records of several crashes and other attendant effects on human lives and the environment. The stakeholders meeting convened by the Federal Road Safety Corps Zone 6 in Port Harcourt is to brainstorm on how best to address the menace. The theme of the meeting is finding lasting solution to tanker crashes in Nigeria.
We are collaborating with MOMAN, we are collaborating with DPR, NUPENC, PTD, NTA and FRCN to reduce crashes involving tanker drivers on our highways. especially in the south.
Some of the causes of the crashes include inadequate vehicle design, fatigue, lack of training, driving under influence of alcohol. Stakeholders agree that engaging the tanker drivers and other road users through public enlightenment will go a long way in addressing the issues. At the end of the meeting, committees were set up for the enlightenment campaign expected to hold in April in Port Harcourt. Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
The full commencement of remediation of the Ogoni land was a big relief for the environment in 2019. However, analysts contend that environmental hazards such as soot and irregular evacuation of refuse remain a major concern in the year under review. Robinson Director reports.
2019 began with great expectations for environmental activists as full operation commenced at 21 sites in Ogoni land remediation exercise, promising the remediation of 36 complex sites in 2020.
We're already engaging with the community so that activities that further impact on the environment adversely, like artisanal refining, is halted.
The environment suffered the resurgence of soot in 2019, which endangered the health of the people. Cases of oil spills, irregular evacuation of refuse, which health practitioners suspect may have resulted to increase in cases of typhoid fever in Port Harcourt, was a challenge in the year under review.
I agree the issue of artisanal refining is on the increase. I do not understand when they say there's a third-party interference, when we know that the equipment in the last 40 years have not been changed in virtually every part of the Niger Delta.
We should improve the way we dispose our waste, deal with fire, deal with emission from our cars, deal with our generators.
Environmental experts are, however, calling for the protection of the environment from all forms of degradation, especially those brought about by the activities of man. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derateide, NTA News.
The 6th Division Nigerian Army has formally closed activities for the year 2019 with its annual social fun fair tagged West African Social Activities WASA 2019. Kingsley Amadiri reports that the event brought friends and associates to savour a rich bouquet of social and cultural displays.
The Nigerian Army West African Social Activity, WASA, dates back to the colonial days. This social gathering has been sustained till date. It promotes cultural harmony, tolerance, and provides the right environment for relaxation. The bonfire ritual signifies the destruction of all negative events and circumstances of the previous year. General Officer Commanding 6th Division, Major General Felix Agugo, said it was a platform to review the success of the Nigerian Army's operations and commended the Rivers State government and other stakeholders for their support during the year.
WASA marks and celebrates our successes in the preceding year. When we celebrate our success, we actually celebrate also the success of security operations in Rivers State.
Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, represented at the event, was glad that there is improved security in the state under the new GOC.
Since your arrival, the state of crime in this state has reduced.
34 soldiers who distinguished themselves were given awards to spur them to greater service. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amadiri, NTA News.
And that's it from Port Harcourt. Nationwide continues after the break.
Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures.
Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down. Do you have a job where you're going to?
No, but someone is arranging,
Listen, Linko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad or even end up in prison.
My name is Yemi Adetunji, the COO downstream of NNPC. Ever since the closure of the borders, we have seen a marked reduction of about 10% in terms of the evacuation of what we call loadouts of PMS, which equates to about 6 million liters per day, essentially because of the border closure, because of certain aspects we've also done as NNPC, working with our sister organizations, sister agencies, Nigerian Customs, DPR, Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, and other agencies, and also what we call Operation White, which is an intervention we have put in place to trace and track every molecule of petroleum products as they arrive in country through the vessels, as they move through the depots, and as they are evacuated with trucks out of the depots.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe
was confirmed by Health Commissioner Ali Kwayabura, giving an update on the situation in Borno following the death of a case in the state few days ago.
Capital thrown into patients suffering from Lassa fever made public. This is where the 40 fever was diagnosed and later taken to University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, where the patient died and it was shut down. As we can see, attacking up the health personnel are not free for quick intervention by state government and partners. However, Commissioner of Health said many who had for a period of weeks.
It is commentative to say that we have confirmed. Other than this one, we do not have any other fever in Borno. We suspect anything. We will have the necessary evaluations.
The commission is in gear to ensure no more deaths are of levels. Has been activated across 7 local governments, including neighboring states in Maiduguri.
The international community commitment to recovery process is during the course visit of Governor Professor Babagana Umara by the crisis management in UN Nigeria.
Visit to the first engagement of the Union Energy since November was in Borno, a ring of such violence attacks on parts of the state. Who acknowledge efforts to oblige, further reassure the support, stressing that the national community needs to support the recovery process initiated by governments of the affected region. UN Humanitarian Coordinator Carlon reiterated commitment of the United Nations to complement efforts of the federal and the state government, as well as to bring lasting peace to the northeast region.
80,000 civilians have been forced to leave everything except safety, and basic services, some of them for the second and third time.
Governor Babagana Umar's organization mechanism, which includes livelihood support, settlement and job creation, to reduce social vices among displaced communities.
Yes, the government of my leadership will provide all the necessary cooperation.
The governor asserts that government created for dialogue as a step to end insurgency. In Maiduguri, Ahmad Goni, NTN News.
Over 91,000 pupils of primary school under the Borno State Homegrown School Program have been dewormed with health. Abad Mohamed Musa reports.
An initiative of Federal Ministry of Health in collaboration with Borno State Homegrown School Feeding Program as well as Ministry of Health the work exercises to ensure that primary school pupils are free from diseases that are to their health. Flagging of the exercise, wife of the state governor, Dr. Falmata Babagana Umara, underscored the importance of deworming among children, especially in terms of survival, and therefore important to know the child is left out. All management national program for no state. Zara described this initiative as the first integrated market expected to cover a significant number of primary school pupils from class 1 to 6 and assured to contribute immediately.
Born in the my bounce included 595 one of the anti out in the with contest. We give opportunity to our boxers.